Yinyan glanced at it and smiled wryly. It was another message from Jiang Yinyan. A voice message, again. I'm a princeling. Why should I be a puppet in a marriage? Whatever I want, I'll fight for myself. What kind of ability is it to rely on a woman? His tone was clearly displeased and rather unpleasant. Yinyan didn't even put the phone to her ear, playing it on speaker instead. She congratulated herself on making the right decision. With Jiang Yinyan's indignant volume, her eardrums would surely have been shattered. Yunyan was both amused and exasperated after hearing his words. Was there any need to emphasize this? It felt like Jiang Yinyan had an inexplicable obsession with this matter. After that, the phone fell silent. Yunyan didn't reply, and Jiang Yinyan didn't send anything else. Lying on her bed, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She couldn't help but turn to browse the web again. The buzz around Jiang Zhixing and Mora had intensified. New photos had emerged. They showed Jiang Zhixing accompanying Mora as she shopped at luxury stores. Besides that, the two had also entered a jewelry store. The jewelry store in the photo didn't show its name, but sharp-eyed netizens claimed that this store specialized in diamond rings, and any gemstone displayed there, especially diamonds, was extremely expensive. Everyone was in an uproar. Setting aside whether the diamonds in the store were expensive, the focus was on the rings. The two went to buy rings. Was this a sign they were heading for marriage? Netizens were thrilled, as if they themselves were getting married. Yunyan recognized the store at a glance. Firstly, she had been immersed in various luxury brands since childhood, let alone the storefront. Even a small corner in a photo would allow her to identify the brand. Secondly, she followed the jewelry industry closely, so she was well aware of this store's reputation. Netizens were right. It was indeed known for its diamond rings. But what netizens said was from an outsider's perspective. This store's diamonds were not only luxurious, but also extremely rare in quality, only dealing in the finest of the fine. Thus, every diamond ring on a customer's hand was globally unique. In other words, those who entered that store were all heading towards marriage. This was more concrete evidence than what netizens had speculated, which surprised Yunyan immensely. The Mora family and the Jiang family were old family acquaintances. It was said that Mora and Jiang Yunyan had also known each other for years, and a marriage alliance had been decided between the two families long ago. However, it hadn't materialized all these years. Unexpectedly, with Jiang Zhixing making his move, they were immediately discussing marriage. It was truly, man proposes, God disposes, seemed to apply to too many things in this world. Yunyan then thought about what Jiang Yunyan had said on the phone earlier, feeling that something about it was strange. She rolled over, her eyes wide open, replaying it over and over in her mind, until she finally remembered what Jiang Yinyan had said. Do you know why I like you? Yunyan stared at the ceiling. Yes, that was the line. She had felt it was strange when she heard it, but then the topic had shifted, and she'd let it pass. Like? The like he spoke of probably wasn't like in the conventional sense. How could he not like it? He could do whatever he wanted, holding her weakness in his hand and acting recklessly. If she were in his shoes, she would like it too. If she were in his shoes, Yunyan's mind began to wander. If she and Jiang Yinyan swapped places, how would she treat Jiang Yinyan? Would all the suffering and humiliation she had endured be played out on him? Watching him kneel, begging desperately for mercy? Watching him cry bitterly? Watching him, clearly unwilling, yet forced to submit? Just thinking about it felt great. Yunyan couldn't help but smile. But she quickly realized it was just wishful thinking. Forget it, time to sleep. The next day, the news about Jiang Zhixing and Mora was still a hot topic. Meanwhile, Jiang Yinyan had approved the major project group's proposal, agreeing to collaborate with the C family on the Nanzhou project. Yunyan was handling her work when she heard the news. The person who told her was Bai Li. I'm his special assistant, yet I heard about this from the project director, Yunyan said with a helpless smile in the cafe. When Bai Li came to find Yunyan, Yunyan's mind was a bit muddled from work, so she followed Bai Li downstairs to the cafe. Yunyan ordered an Americano, and Bai Li asked for sparkling water. Bai Li's main purpose was to tell Yunyan about the major proposal being passed. She wasn't surprised that Yunyan was slow to realize it. Yunyan was surprised, looking at Bai Li and asking, "You seem to know that I was kept out of the loop." Bai Li hummed with a smile. Yunyan raised an eyebrow. This didn't follow work procedures. Even if Jiang Yinyan was out of town, major work decisions should surely be relayed to her, his special assistant. That is to say, a special assistant needs to know her immediate superior's decisions and movements at the first possible moment. Bai Li said, "Mr. Jiang clearly wanted to avoid you on this matter, not wanting you to participate." Yunyan sipped her coffee. It was truly bitter. "Just like I'm about to go discuss the project specifics with Mr. C, and you don't know about that either," Bai Li said, suppressing a laugh. Yunyan was speechless. Indeed, she didn't know. Yang Li called, specifically telling me I absolutely couldn't bring you, saying it was Mr. Jiang's order, Bai Li said, lowering her gaze to hide a smile. Huh? Yunyan exclaimed. Is it that serious? When it came to the collaboration between the two parties, Bali clearly knew much more than Yunyan. She said, Mr. Jiang was keen, but Si Tingyuan is a shrewd and calculating man. He gave Mr. Jiang an honorable way out by personally flying to him to discuss the matter. I heard from Yang Li that they had meetings for 2 whole days, which apparently ironed out some of the project's uncertainties. Yunyan sighed upon hearing this, marveling that businessmen were truly flexible and adaptable. Mr. Jiang is also someone who considers the overall situation. Even though he knows Si Tingyuan is his love rival and clearly despises him, he still put aside personal grudges to collaborate. He's very magnanimous, Bali also remarked. Yunyan didn't react immediately. Love rival. Seeing her reaction, Bali smiled and said, Otherwise, why wouldn't he let you go with him to meet Si Tingyuan and finalize this matter? Only then did Yunyan realize, and she was both amused and exasperated. You really have an imagination. Bali raised an eyebrow. Is there a problem with me thinking that way? She put down her sparkling water, extended her index finger, and gently poked Yunyan's arm. This time, the gossip about Mora and Jiang Zhixing saved you, seriously. Ever since that day, the young women in our company have been spreading rumors. Do you really think that Mr. Jiang pulling you away in plain sight wouldn't lead to misunderstandings? Do you really think everyone believed your uncle excuse? Yunyan couldn't explain the situation to Bai Li. She could only give a wry smile and say, In a sense, he really is my uncle. Is that so? Well, your uncle treats you quite unusually, Bai Li said, pursing her lips into a smile. He guards against other men like they're thieves. Tell me, if you were to get together with another man one day, would he take care of that guy? Don't talk nonsense, Yunyan sighed. He and I, it's really not like what you think. Bai Li cleared her throat. Is that so? I heard Mr. C has plans to pursue you. Yunyan's smile was insincere. Just hear such things and let them pass. She had also thought about Jiang Yunyan's intentions. He had said before that even if they cooperated with the C family, the person handling the liaison would not be her. As she understood it, Jiang Yunyan had 2 layers of meaning. One was that for the complex matters of a 2-family collaboration, the person in charge would naturally be the project leader. She was merely a special assistant, not the direct project leader, so a liaison wouldn't conform to standard procedures. The other meaning leaned towards what Bai Li had imagined. However, Bai Li imagined it too prettily. It wasn't romantic feelings between a man and a woman. Jiang Yunyan saw her as his possession, one of his belongings, so when outsiders took an interest in his belongings, he was bound to react. She is mine. He had said that more than once. Even in bed, he would force her to admit repeatedly that she was his. A man like Jiang Yunyan was highly possessive. So, was Si Tingyuan his love rival? No, he simply didn't want his things to leave his sight. But this time, the Jiang Zhixing and Mora matter has caused too big a stir. Those two are really going for marriage. Bai Li usually wasn't a gossip, but she made an exception for Yunyan. Yunyan pondered, recalling the photo of the two entering the ring store, and nodded slightly. It looks that way. There's something else, those two. One openly poaches, the other openly steps out of an arranged marriage. I wouldn't say so. Neither is married. The way they went about it was extreme, but logically, there's nothing to fault. Mora is a young lady. Her relationship with Jiang Yunyan was just an arranged marriage. Who's to say she didn't just happen to turn around and see Jiang Zhixing in the fading light and fall in love at first sight? Yunyan didn't reveal too many inside details. Mora is favored at home. If she wants to marry someone, I doubt her parents could stop her. Bai Li smiled ambiguously. How do I feel like Mr. Jiang is quite pleased about this? He doesn't seem to have any feelings for Mora, does he? Hearing this, Yunyan was silent for a moment before saying, For commercial marriages, profit comes first, feelings second. Bai Li didn't disagree with that statement and nodded. Then she chuckled, High society, I don't get it. After saying that, she clinked glasses with Yunyan. Almost forgot, you're also from high society. What high society? I'm just a downtrodden nobody now. Anyone can step all over me, Yunyan laughed. Bai Li disagreed with her words. You may be down on your luck, but an heiress is still a true heiress. What's in your bones can't be changed. Even if you're down and out, you possess things ordinary people don't. An ordinary person, if they met Yang Li's cold face, would have retreated far away. But you? In just a short time, you've made it into the core of the project. Are you saying I'm thick-skinned? You can just say it directly, Yunyan laughed. You're confident, Bai Li said, hitting the nail on the head. Confidence cultivated in your very being, it's directly related to your upbringing. So even if you're down on your luck, you're not afraid. I think you. You think what? You make a comeback sooner or later, Bai Li said softly. This is my intuition, Yunyan. You have to believe my intuition. Someone with your personality is bound to succeed. Make a comeback, huh? With this thought, Yunyan felt motivated for the entire afternoon's work. Of course, she also gossiped a bit about Bai Li's affairs. To Yunyan's surprise, Bai Li, usually a strong career woman, looked a little shy and whispered to Yunyan that Yang Li had proposed to her at the highest restaurant in Beishur. She added that Yang Li doing something like that had quite shocked her, as he wasn't usually very expressive in such matters. Yunyan was genuinely happy for her. She then asked, since he proposed, "Where's the ring?" Bai Li murmured, "It's a diamond ring, too flashy to wear. I'll just wear the wedding band directly when we get married." She wasn't usually someone who liked to show off, and now she was even more low-key. Yunyan could understand Bai Li's thoughts. In this day and age, neither sorrow nor joy was suitable for public display. If you were sad, many would revel in your misfortune. If you were happy, many would envy you. Yunyan, however, felt it was a pity. "That diamond ring is quite valuable," Yunyan said with a smile. "I accidentally caught a glimpse of it at Yang Li's place before. It's clear he cherishes you deeply." Bai Li's voice dropped even lower. "Precisely because I know it's valuable. I don't want to wear it and show off. Besides, my colleagues don't even know about Yang Li and me yet." Yunyan was curious about what they were thinking and when they planned to announce it. Bai Li smiled and said, "Probably after the first phase of the project concludes. Plus, I'm uncomfortable with my pregnancy now, and my body really can't handle too much. You know Yang Li's hometown isn't in this city, right?" Yunyan was surprised. "Isn't he from Beishur?" When she first joined Zhongshu, she had checked some personnel files, including those of Yang Li and Bai Li. Yang Li's profile showed him as a native of the city, and although Bai Li's family background wasn't entirely complete, she was also from the city. Bai Li explained that Yang Li's hukou, household registration, was transferred here after graduation, but his ancestral home was not in this city. "If we get married, we'll have 2 ceremonies," Bai Li said. "One in Beishur, and one in Yang Li's hometown. His hometown is quite interesting, with lots of people and apparently unique wedding customs, but it's really exhausting. You can't keep up without stamina." Yunyan, born in Jiangnan, knew that many local wedding customs were indeed interesting, but they were also genuinely tiring. Moreover, wedding times in the north and south differed, and given Bai Li's current physical condition, it really wasn't very realistic. "But you can't keep dragging it out, can you? After the baby is born, I guess. I only get married once, and I want to look beautiful in my wedding dress." "But," Bai Li said mysteriously, "we already registered our marriage." Yunyan. She felt that things in the world were unbelievably fantastical. One moment, Bai Li was planning to live her life with the mindset of raising a child without the father, and the next moment, she and Yang Li had achieved a perfect union and even gotten their marriage certificate. Bai Li, looking blissful, told her that if you decide to get married, it's better to marry sooner rather than later, or not at all. Well, times certainly change. Yunyan sat at her desk, filled with emotions as she thought about Bai Li's situation. Of course, what felt even more fantastical to her were the affairs of Mora and Jiang Zhixing. Because the Jiang family had made a statement. Not only the Jiang family, but Mora's family had also made a statement. In the drowsy afternoon, Amy returned with coffee and, while handing it to Yunyan, quickly told her about it. Yunyan hadn't slept well the night before, filled with dreams, and was feeling sleepy. But upon receiving her life-saving coffee and hearing such explosive news, all her drowsiness vanished instantly. She went online to check, and sure enough, both families had made statements. Saying both families wasn't entirely accurate. More precisely, it was both parties who made statements. Jiang Zhixing and Mora. First, Jiang Zhixing publicly admitted online that he loved Mora and wished to spend his life with her. He stated that Mora had always been his white moonlight, and he would devote everything in this life to protecting and loving her. Mora made her statement an hour later. She was as audacious as ever, posting a message on social media. "That's right, the person this lady is marrying is Jiang Zhixing. So what? What business is it of yours?" Challenging the vast number of netizens. Naturally, this stirred up quite a bit of controversy. In short, the internet was buzzing with activity. Mora's character was well established, a fearless individual, sometimes quite blunt or overbearing, but without ill intent. Yunyan focused on Jiang Zhixing's statement. He truly was a model Jiang family's son. No, he should be a role model for all men, with such a strong sense of responsibility. Although the two families behind them hadn't spoken, the fact that these two could say such things meant the matter was practically set in stone. Yunyan clicked open her calendar and glanced at it. At this rate, New Year's Eve should be quite lively this year. Mora would definitely go to the Jiang families, but this time, the meaning would be different. Jiang Yunyan was on this business trip, and social engagements were unavoidable. He didn't mention his return date, nor did he call that evening. Yunyan had the rare opportunity to leave work early today, so she took a good bath, adding white flower essential oil, and the air filled with the faint, valley fragrance of white flowers. After coming out of the bathroom, she noticed the orange box placed in the entryway. Inside was a bag, a luxury brand that she had once almost bought empty. From her childhood until she grew up, she didn't know how much money she had spent on this brand. Yunyan wasn't obsessed with brands. For her past self, these brands were just ordinary items. But for her current self, she couldn't afford them anymore. Because she left work early today, she had the rare chance to go shopping, thinking that Xiao Min's birthday was approaching and she wanted to pick out some gifts for her. When she reached the entrance of this brand store, she paused, feeling a moment of disorientation, realizing she hadn't been inside this store for a very long time. The last time she entered the store to buy something felt like something from the last century. Old Lu had been following her from a distance. It was just like Ayin in her youth, except back then, Ayin was very close behind her, allowing her to turn around and ask for his opinion at any time. She remembered one year going into this same brand store to buy a bag. Because of her status and usual spending habits, the brand store had specially cleared out other customers to serve only her. That afternoon, she tried bag after bag, rare leather, limited editions, anything she wanted to try, the store immediately presented it to her. Ayin stayed by her side, patiently waiting for her, for an entire afternoon. Eventually, she grew tired of trying them on, pointed at a row of bags, and said, "These will do." After the Yu family's incident, she sold all those bags and indeed got quite a bit of money back. She entered the store. It wasn't that she necessarily wanted to buy anything. She simply wanted to reminisce. Reminisce about what? Not the past extravagance, but perhaps the feeling of never having lost her sense of security. The sales associate wasn't very enthusiastic towards her. Normal, she wasn't wearing any designer brands and had a canvas bag slung over her shoulder. Eco-friendly and practical, and crucially, she thought current canvas bags were designed quite beautifully. Old Lu didn't enter the store, waiting about 20 to 30 meters from the entrance. After she had browsed around, a sales associate lazily came forward to ask what she wanted to buy. Yunyan looked at the sales associate, wanting to laugh, but held it back. They truly judge people by their appearance, but it was normal for this kind of store. Yunyan thought for a moment and named a bag style. The sales associate almost rolled her eyes openly, telling her there was no stock available and she would have to wait. The look in her eyes towards Yunyan was unmistakably clear. Even if it were available, could someone like you afford it? Yunyan smiled without speaking, merely giving a faint "oh." Perhaps seeing her lack of an interrogative posture, the sales associate was a bit confused. Typically, customers inquiring about that particular bag were determined to get it and would ask follow-up questions. The sales associate cleared her throat and said to her, "Madam, if you want that bag, you'll have to wait. Why don't you look at other items you might need?" How could Yunyan not understand the implied meaning in the sales associate's words? She chuckled. "It's almost year-end. Haven't met your sales targets yet, have you?" The sales associate was taken aback. "How about this?" Yunyan said casually. "You can first help me check my account to see if I need to make a matching purchase, and if I absolutely need to, I'll reconsider." The sales associate felt uneasy seeing this attitude, but stubbornly insisted, "Here, we don't have a matching purchase policy. We genuinely don't have the item in stock." But she still asked for Yunyan's phone number to check her member information. The check indeed gave her quite a shock. Soon, the store manager arrived, his attitude incredibly solicitous, as if he had met a long-lost relative. He addressed her as Miss Yu repeatedly, his eyes practically narrowing into slits. Following him was the sales associate, who had also shed her previous arrogance and was now nodding and bowing. The manager first apologized to her, saying the sales associate was ignorant and new to the store, and asked her not to take it to heart. He then turned to scold the sales associate vehemently, but Yunyan stopped him. In this industry, especially for such brands, judging customers by their appearance had become basic human nature. Everyone was just trying to make a living, so there was no need to get angry over it. Of course, if it were her past self, she might not have been so easygoing. The store manager, despite his enthusiasm, also told Yunyan the truth, stating that there was currently only one of the bags she wanted in the store, but the color was definitely not one she would like. It was bright red. He implied whether Yunyan could wait, and he would even arrange for a more appealing color to be transferred. Yunyan hadn't actually intended to buy it. Her question to the sales associate was merely an idle one. If they really did bring it in, she wouldn't be able to bring herself to buy such an expensive bag. So she just said, "Oh, I see. In that case, forget it for now. I'll come back another day." Finally, she said goodbye under the store manager's reluctant gaze. When she got home, Yunyan actually regretted it a little. She should have bought one for Xiao Min, but such an expensive bag. She didn't want to use someone else's money. She should still buy what she could afford. As she was thinking, the doorbell rang. It was old Lu. He was carrying a large orange box in his hand. Yunyan knew her stuff. At a glance, she could tell it was a bag. She was surprised. Old Lu placed the item in the entryway and told Yunyan, "Miss Yu, this was ordered for you by young Master Yin. He instructed me to deliver it immediately." Old Lu was efficient in his words and actions. After delivering the message, he put down the item and turned to leave. Now, Yunyin, having showered, looked at the box again, thought for a moment, and opened it. With one look, it was indeed the same bag style she had inquired about in the store. Yunyin carried the bag into the living room and placed it neatly on the coffee table, staring at it intently for several minutes. She took out her phone, snapped a photo, and sent it to Jiang Yinyan, adding a question mark. Soon, Jiang Yinyan replied, "Didn't you want this bag? The color should be to your liking." Yinyan thought for a moment. "Did old Lu tip you off?" Jiang Yinyan responded. "Said you were having a difficult time at the shop." Yunyin sent a helpless laugh emoji. It was all right. She then asked him, "This color bag is a limited edition. How did you get it?" Jiang Yinyan sent a helpless emoji. Yunyin was puzzled. Did her question make him feel so helpless? Jiang Yinyan, "I robbed a bank, okay?" This time, it was Yunyin's turn to send a helpless emoji. A moment later, Jiang Yinyan replied, "It's just a bag. How hard could it be to get?" Yunyin felt that his tone now truly resembled her own from the past. She pondered for a long time, but ultimately didn't ask him when he would return. A little later, Xiao Min sent a photo, a screenshot of someone's WeChat moments. Yunyin didn't have time to see whose moments it was. Her eyes immediately fixed on the photos. They were of Jiang Yinyan, likely at a banquet. He was seated, dressed in a well-tailored dark suit, exuding nobility and aloofness. Several people stood by him, toasting him, their every gesture showing respect. There were two photos, one a side profile and one a full face, both candid shots. Below the pictures, the caption read, "The ideal man on earth, none other than young Master Yin, the crown prince." The text was followed by a drooling emoji. The person who posted on Moments had an unfamiliar profile picture and name, but just by the content, it was clearly a woman. Yunyin sent Xiao Min a confused emoji. "Xiao Min, one of the socialites you two had contact before. I don't know who she attended that private banquet with, but she clearly wants to get closer to him." She then mentioned a name. Yunyin instantly remembered the person. Indeed, they had interacted before, but after the Yu family had trouble, many people cut ties with her, especially those socialites, each incredibly pragmatic, acting as if they didn't know her, and that included the person Xiao Min had mentioned. This woman was very popular with men, always surrounded by them, and quite cunning. She wasn't exactly a breathtaking beauty, but she had a good figure and was very charming. "Xiao Min, I've bumped into her at an event before, and she added me. Whenever I post something, she'd actively like and comment." Yunyin directly sent a voice message. "You're something. Your influence is great." I was deleted by her. Xiao Min sent a snicker. "I heard her old man embezzled a sum of money and got into trouble, offending many people." Yunyin suddenly realized why she was actively showing goodwill towards Xiao Min. Xiao Min might not have extensive resources in politics and business, but she certainly held rich fashion resources, which was most practical for socialites. Xiao Min said that the woman was quite adept at social maneuvering, and it wasn't easy for her to get into a dinner banquet attended by Jiang Yinyan. She must have gone with someone powerful and influential. Yunyin sighed to Xiao Min. "I used to think this girl was quite sharp. How could she do something so foolish now?" Xiao Min understood what she meant. Every circle had its own rules. Unlike the business world, Jiang Yinyan's circle was primarily low-key, not fond of high-profile displays. Any banquet Jiang Yinyan attended was even more exclusive. There might not be many people, but the standard must be extremely high, as the attendees all had extraordinary backgrounds. People in their position hated having their privacy exposed. Yunyin called the girl foolish because she didn't understand the rules. Not only did she take photos she shouldn't have, but she also posted them publicly. Xiao Min snickered. Her family at most just has some money. They might not have access to higher-end circles. Forget her. If you look at the entire socialite circle, how many can access the top echelons of Beijing's elite? Like the Jiang family, similar to the Yu family? So they naturally don't understand the rules. She sent another voice message. "But I heard that woman is eyeing Jiang Yinyan, which is normal. Jiang Yinyan is such a big catch. Too many girls want to achieve their ideal life through him." Yunyin asked Xiao Min if she had a photo of the woman herself. Xiao Min chuckled. "You haven't forgotten what she looks like, have you?" Yunyin honestly replied, "I actually have forgotten a bit. I only remember a general idea." Soon, Xiao Min sent a photo. Yunyin opened it and was slightly stunned. She was more alluring than Yunyin remembered, exuding femininity in her every gesture. It was a photo by a pool, her graceful figure fully exposed, especially her eyes, which revealed an obvious charm. She sent a message to Xiao Min. Is this her real face? It was much prettier than she remembered. Xiao Min said, "I heard she spent a lot of money from head to toe, but it's done quite well. The traces aren't obvious." She then asked Yunyin, "Doesn't she look a bit familiar?" "Familiar? What did she mean?" Xiao Min then told her something, I heard from a knowledgeable sister that this girl had her eyes done to look like yours. The photos she gave the clinic were of you. Yunyan shuddered violently. What? Were you quite envied for your looks before? Xiao Min chuckled. Yunyan thought carefully, vaguely recalling some details. When I used to interact, that girl seemed to have complimented her beautiful eyes, and even joked, why don't I get eyes just like yours? Then we'll be good sisters who love each other dearly. Yunyan felt a chill down her spine. Xiao Min said, now she's using a pair of eyes very much like yours to flirt with Jiang Yinyan. Do you think Jiang Yinyan's resolve might waver? She's much more enthusiastic than you. Yunyan scoffed. Is that so? Then I should congratulate myself. After their conversation ended, Xiao Min screenshotted several more of that person's moments and sent them all to her. She scrolled through them one by one. More than just 1 or 2 photos of Jiang Yinyan appeared on her moments. There was also a photo from a golf course. He stood against the light, with someone beside him, both holding golf clubs, seemingly in conversation. The caption was another round of pretentious drivel. Checking the time, it matched Jiang Yinyan's business trip. So, this woman had been in contact with Jiang Yinyan all these days? Even if it wasn't the most direct contact, at least the person who brought her out had contact with Jiang Yinyan. Yunyan put down her phone, her heart filled with mixed emotions for a moment. How to describe it? A bit uncomfortable, a bit bitter, and a bit sour. Although she had spoken quite casually and open-mindedly to Xiao Min earlier, now that she was quiet, she felt these emotions. She tried hard to describe it, finally finding a very fitting description. It was like something of hers was being snatched away by an outsider. Yes, not yet snatched away, but being snatched away. Yunyan found her own feelings laughable after realizing them. At this moment, if a woman Jiang Yinyan fancied appeared, wouldn't that be a good thing for her? She was now wishing Jiang Yinyan's thoughts weren't on her, wasn't she? But even thinking that, she still couldn't help but send a screenshot of the moments with his photos to Jiang Yinyan. She said nothing, just sent the screenshot. After sending it, she placed her phone on the coffee table, glancing at it from time to time. She wanted to see Jiang Yinyan's reaction. She felt it was more out of gossipy curiosity. But after waiting for 10 minutes, she didn't receive a reply from Jiang Yinyan. Yinyan didn't know if he was busy or had nothing to say. Jiang Yinyan was never one to explain things. Perhaps he considered it an unimportant matter. Yinyan simply stopped waiting. She secretly laughed at herself. Was she possessed? Why did she care about Jiang Yinyan's reaction? She didn't know how long she had slept, but in a hazy state, it seemed someone was calling her. The voice was cold. This voice was very familiar, especially when it turned cold. Yunyan suddenly opened her eyes. The indoor lights were glaringly bright, and she instinctively raised her hand to shield her eyes. Then she heard a woman's voice rise, sounding charming and subtly coquettish. Yin, why is she sleeping in your bed? How shameless. Yunyan's first thought was, asterisk who's sleeping in his bed? Who's shameless? I'm sleeping in my own home. Okay, asterisk. Get up. Another man's voice, icy cold. Yunyan finally adapted to the blinding light before her eyes. She looked up and was stunned. It was Jiang Yinyan. She didn't know when he had returned, but he stood by the bed, dressed in a formal suit, exuding a chilly aloofness. There was also a woman beside him. More accurately, she was clinging to him, her entire body nestled in his arms, her impressive figure pressed tightly against his chest. And Jiang Yinyan didn't reject the woman's enthusiasm. He had one arm around her waist, possessively. Yinyan was a bit dazed for a moment, and when she looked around again, her scalp tingled. She was clearly at her own home. How was she at Jiang Yinyan's? The woman spoke, her voice soft and sweet. I don't care, Yin. Hurry and kick her out. Yunyan looked closely. Asterisk, isn't this the girl who posted on WeChat Moments? And only upon closer inspection did I realize that the girl's eyes were indeed very similar to hers. Asterisk. What's wrong with you? Get out now. Jiang Yinyan's voice was icy again. Yunyan felt incredibly awkward, and tonight's events were too bizarre. She opened her mouth. Jiang Yinyan. Before she could finish speaking, she heard the woman shriek. Yin, why is she wearing my nightgown? This is too much. Who she thinks she is? Ah, I know. She wants to replace me. Yin, this woman is detestable. Yunyan frowned and coldly snapped at the woman. Are you blind? Or crazy from poverty? Who's wearing a nightgown? And she turned her gaze to Jiang Yinyan, her tone even colder. I was clearly sleeping in my own home. How did I get to your house? What did you do to me? And he even brought such a woman here to disgust her? Jiang Yinyan frowned, clearly wearing a look of impatience, his tone cool. You look at whose clothes you're wearing. Yinyan looked down, stunned. Asterisk, no. Why was she wearing such a revealing nightgown? It wasn't her at all. All of this was too bizarre. Asterisk. Between the pulling and tugging, Yunyan's eyes suddenly snapped open. It was just a dream, but it felt as if she had journeyed through 1,000 mountains and rivers, so tired she couldn't lift her limbs. Her whole body was clammy with sweat, uncomfortably heavy, and, in her daze, it felt as though she was still dreaming because she felt someone pressing down on her. But only when a sharp bite on her chest stung did she suddenly realize it wasn't a dream. There was indeed someone on top of her. The light was dim, but even though she could only make out a blurry figure, the man's cool, clean scent betrayed his identity. Yunyan gasped in alarm. Before she could utter a sound, the man's thin lips pressed down, swallowing her startled cry entirely within the friction of their mouths. From dream to reality, everything Yunyan experienced felt like a breathtaking ordeal. Her clothes had been completely removed by the man at some unknown point, and every inch of her skin traced the contours of his firm muscles and bones. Warm skin pressed together, quickly becoming scorching hot. It was a while before the man released her lips, and only then did she tremblingly murmur, "Yin, young Master Yin." How could the man who was 1,000 miles away suddenly appear in her bed? The man mumbled in response, his thin lips seemingly setting her body alight, tracing from her fragrant lips to her neck. His panting was full of sensuality, and the voice that seeped from deep within his throat was like a hook, hooking deeper and deeper into her heart. And the man seemed intent on drawing out all her passion. His long, slender hand gently caressed her slender waist, his thin lips tracing a path downwards along her fair, smooth skin. When the thin blanket over Yunyan arched into a mound, she was so startled she almost sat up. "Young Master Yin, don't." But her waist was promptly held captive by the man's large hand. His voice, husky with desire, rose softly from beneath the thin blanket. "Be good, don't move." Yunyan's waist instantly went soft. Not just her waist, but her whole body. She felt every cell in her body screaming, igniting with flames. Soon, she yielded completely. Her eyes were glistening, moist, and the rising desire continuously swelled within her. Yunyan bit her lower lip tightly, her moans almost like soft whimpers. Perhaps it was the dim surroundings that made the desire all the more unrestrained. But then she remembered the dream she just had. The alluring woman, submissive against his chest, intimately entwined like a vine around a tree. And he indulged that woman, allowing her to wantonly bully and humiliate her. At once, a feeling of grievance welled up with the desire. She couldn't help but fiercely grip the man's firm shoulders, her slender fingers almost sinking into his flesh. But the man's body was hard and firm. She only ended up hurting her own fingers. Jiang Yinyan pulled back the thin blanket covering them both. His tall, imposing body pressed against hers, one hand pulling down her hands and lacing his fingers through hers, pinning them above her head. His high nose gently brushed her cheek. He chuckled, his voice low, deep, and pleasing to the ear. "Just like I said on the phone, so much watered." Did you miss me?" Jiang Yinyan whispered, interrupting her, his thin lips lightly tracing the corners of her mouth. Yunyan's breathing quickened, entangled with the man's hot breath. Her body was on fire, yet she stubbornly didn't want to admit it, so she mumbled, "No." The man never turned on the bedside lamp. The two clung to each other, their passionate embrace in the dim light adding an indescribable, ambiguous atmosphere. He didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled, lightly biting her neck. "You didn't?" "Yes, I didn't." Yunyan trembled slightly. Jiang Yinyan's long, slender fingers stirred up a storm between her taut skin, and he chuckled, "But I missed you very much." She froze. The man's large hand went to the back of her neck, gently lifting her face, as if lingering and yet toying, intermittently kissing and sucking on her soft lips. "I craved you terribly every night." His voice was hoarse, his narrow eyes tinged with desire. His sight had long adapted to the dimness more than hers. The cool moonlight streamed into the room, and the woman beneath him, with skin like snow, was so smooth and soft it made him succumb. "I really should have you by my side," he murmured. "I crave your water, your tenderness, and your pleas for mercy." "Stop talking." Yunyan's heart was about to leap out of her chest, her voice losing all strength. She actually wanted to ask him how he came back, and other things. "So, you really didn't miss me?" Jiang Yinyan's face was buried in her neck, and he asked, his voice hoarse with difficulty. "No." The next second, Yunyan's words turned into a gasp. A comfortable grunt escaped from deep within the man's throat. He was the invader, conquering territories, not giving Yunyan much time to accept. The moment the city gates were breached, the grand assault began. Yunyan's two wrists were seized by one of his hands and pulled above her head. He became fierce. "Did you miss me or not?" "No." Her body was like a small boat in a stormy sea, constantly in danger of capsizing. "Didn't miss me?" Jiang Yinyan bit her, every movement of their skin together raw and powerful. Yunyan couldn't withstand his stormy onslaught and could only continuously show weakness. "Yes, I missed you." The man's movements then softened. His long, slender fingers caressed and kneaded her waist, and he sighed softly, so obedient. Yunyan knew this was just the beginning of the calamity. She resented Jiang Yinyan's forceful taking in these matters, yet she also resented her own inability to control herself in such situations. The man impatiently left a trail of red plums on her porcelain white skin. She panted, begging for mercy. Don't, someone will see. So what if they see? The man sounded incredibly sexy, as if he wanted to knead her into his own body. You can tell everyone outside that you are mine alone. No. Yunyan shivered, then bit her lower lip tightly, unsure if it was due to the man's actions or his overly shocking words. Jiang Yinyan was displeased that she was so constrained. His thumb traced her lips, gently coaxing them open bit by bit, and he softly tempted, "Be good, cry out." The room was hazy, and a storm of passion raged on the bed. Yunyan was startled awake by the vibration of her phone. She opened her eyes and saw the time, just past 7. She still had to work today. She suddenly sat up in bed, then winced, a dull ache in her lower abdomen, and her legs felt like they were useless. She turned her head to look beside her. It was empty. She looked around. She was at her own home, so last night's revelry, it shouldn't have been a dream. She felt that the pillow and blanket carried the man's cool, clean scent. The phone vibrated repeatedly. Only then did Yunyan react. As she reached for the phone on her bedside table, the thin blanket slipped to her waist, and she discovered red plums blossoming all over her body. Dog of a man. It was actually a mola. The moment she answered, Yunyan inexplicably felt a flicker of dread and guilt. Just last night, on this very bed, she had been intimately entangled with her fiancé, and the marks on her body were all left by her fiancé. Then she thought, no, wait, and Mola is with Jiang Zhixing now. Mola got straight to the point. Yinyan, are you working today, as usual? Yunyan inexplicably felt guilty again. Ah, yes, why? Are you free for lunch? I want to have lunch with you. Mola's voice was clear and crisp, without any hesitation. Yunyan thought there shouldn't be anything major for lunch today, so she agreed. All right, I'll contact you when I'm almost there. After the call ended, Yunyan drifted in thought on the bed for a moment. What did Mola want with her? She vaguely heard movement from the entrance. Yunyan's scalp tingled, thinking, surely Yuanzhou hasn't shown up uninvited? She quickly stumbled out of bed. The moment she exited the bedroom, she unexpectedly came face to face with Jiang Yinyan. He was already dressed neatly, his white shirt simple and elegant, collar slightly open, revealing a hint of his sexy collarbone. Perhaps old Liu had just delivered breakfast. He held a breakfast box in one hand, and seeing she was awake, his brows relaxed. Wash up and eat. He really was back. She looked around. His suitcase and change of clothes were gone. Old Liu must have taken them. She subconsciously followed him to the kitchen. The morning light filled the dining table, making the man's shirt shine. He looked vibrant, with comfort in his eyes and brows. How could he not be comfortable? Last night, he had truly enjoyed himself to the fullest. Jiang Yinyan saw her standing at the kitchen doorway, his thick eyebrows raised slightly. What's wrong? Yunyan mumbled, nothing, and quickly turned and left. She quickly rinsed herself. One good thing about Jiang Yinyan being in her home was that even if she was late, she'd have an excuse. As a special assistant, she could be wherever her boss was. It was only during breakfast that Yunyan asked him, why did you suddenly come back? Suddenly? Jiang Yinyan said, I was supposed to come back today, but I came a day early. It seems things went smoothly, Yunyan said softly. I suppose so. Jiang Yinyan glanced up at her. Or why don't you think it's because I wanted to come back a day early? Yunyan lowered her head to eat. Her first thought upon hearing that was, did something happen at the company? After asking, she never heard Jiang Yinyan's reply. She looked up at him, only to find him also staring at her, his narrow eyes deep, yet also like an appraisal. It made Yunyan feel completely uneasy. Did I say something wrong? Nothing. Jiang Yinyan seemed leisurely again, smiling ambiguously. It has nothing to do with the company. I just wanted to... His gaze fell on her face, undisguised, a flicker of desire flashing deep within his eyes. Yunyan knew he wouldn't say anything pleasant. Sure enough, he smiled faintly, slowly enunciating 2 words, sleep with you. It was clearly intentional, but Yunyan's heart pounded erratically, her fingers trembled, and her chopsticks almost dropped. Why are you nervous? Jiang Yinyan said with a half-smile. Yunyan didn't want to answer the question. She lowered her head and said, I'm not nervous. I just want to finish eating quickly, otherwise I'll be late. You can take my car, so eat slowly. Jiang Yinyan said something serious. Yunyan didn't eat much. She never ate much in the mornings anyway. Jiang Yinyan asked her, half seriously, half teasingly, did you eat too much last night? Yunyan's legs went soft. Jiang Yinyan, taking the opportunity, wrapped an arm around her waist, steadying her body, a hint of mischief in his eyes. What did I say? I just asked if you ate too much dinner last night. Is there a problem? Yunyan cursed inwardly. You dog of a man. That's not what you meant at all. Are you cursing me in your heart? Yunyan tightened his grip around her waist. His eyes, when he smiled, looked gentle, but in reality, who knew what danger lurked within? No, how dare I curse you? Yunyan still hadn't changed, and time was tight, so she gently pushed him away. While she was changing, Yunyan leaned against the doorway of the dressing room, his intentions very clear. Yunyan knew he was accustomed to acting recklessly. Even if she asked him to leave, she couldn't do anything if he didn't want to. She picked out a professional outfit and said softly, "If it were the old Yin, you would never dare to do this." Dare not do what? Yunyan asked lazily. Yunyan in the mirror slightly raised her chin, her gaze sweeping over the man's. You wouldn't dare to stand here so openly. You would definitely close the door for me and wait outside. Yunyan suddenly laughed at her words, as if he had heard a joke. He slowly walked forward, coming up behind her, his long arm wrapped around her, suddenly pulling her into his embrace. Yunyan stiffened, her back pressed against his firm chest. You think I wouldn't dare him? Yunyan lowered his head, his thin lips against her ear, one hand lifting the hem of her clothes. If I want to, what wouldn't I dare? The woman's smooth, delicate skin was lightly grasped in his hand, feeling incredibly sensual. Yunyan's body tensed. What do you mean? Yunyan chuckled, not answering her question. Instead, he turned her around and pressed her against the mirror. Yunyan, I want you, what should I do? Yunyan tightened his grip on her waist, his eyes tinged with desire. Her neck was slender and fair, like a swan's. He couldn't help but press his lips to it, delicately drawing in her fragrance. He didn't want to speak of his greed for her. It had actually begun back in the Yu family. How many times, when she daintily said her feet hurt and asked him to carry her, did the thoughts screaming in his mind not involve carrying her, but rather pinning her beneath him and taking her fiercely? His covetousness for her grew stronger with age, like a fire that had burned for many years. Many times, too, she had tried on clothes in the changing room. Just a door separated them, and inside was her graceful body. He had to suppress the fire in his heart repeatedly before he could calmly tell her, Miss, I'll wait outside. Heaven knew his only thought was to kick open that door. That year, she was trapped on a mountain by an admirer from school and almost taken advantage of. He beat that senior half to death, but seeing her disheveled appearance, weren't his thoughts the same as her seniors? Even then, Yunyan had harbored an even crazier thought, to keep her trapped there and make her his. It wasn't that he didn't dare back then. It was merely gratitude towards Yuan, which compelled him to restrain the demon of desire growing in his heart and to dutifully protect her. That year, she stumbled upon a scene where he held a gun to Yuan. In that moment, he desperately wanted to tell her, if you want her dad to live, come here, come with me. Ultimately, he didn't do it. Her look of terror towards him made him profoundly uncomfortable. Yunyan didn't know Yunyan's thoughts. Her hand pressed against his chest. Even through his shirt, she could feel the strength and heat of his muscles. She knew he wasn't teasing her. He truly wanted her. I'll be late for work, she pleaded desperately, yet not daring to resist too fiercely. She knew Yunyan. The more she resisted, the more it would ignite his desire for conquest. She could only show weakness. Yunyan gently kneaded the delicate skin of her waist, unable to let go. He looked down at the woman in his arms, so charming and fragile, and the torrent in his heart surged even more powerfully. He pressed against her, lightly biting her earlobe, and asked with a half-smile, in the car? No, Yunyan instinctively replied. My clothes will get all wrinkled. Yunyan was amused by her. If you take them all off, you won't have to worry about wrinkles. Yunyan shook her head like crazy, clearly terrified, adamantly refusing. He had to be kidding. It wasn't like she hadn't been with him in the car before. Each time, she felt as if she'd been dismembered, not wanting to move at all. Go to work like that? She wasn't invincible. Then what should we do? Yunyan feigned regret, his fingers rising to gently caress her ear, while his other hand pulled hers. She didn't even need to consciously feel it. She could already sense it. Fearing he might impulsively do something else, Yunyan bit her lip and said with difficulty, I'll help you in another way. The journey from Yunyan's residence to the company was quite long. After Yunyan got out of the car, she put on her mask and followed behind Yunyan. When waiting for the elevator, two arrived at the same time. Yunyan entered one of them. Yunyan, seeing this, chose the second one. But just as she turned to leave, she saw Yunyan holding the elevator door with one hand, his voice faint, come in. Come in. There were other people in the elevator, and Yunyan didn't want to inconvenience anyone, so she lowered her head and entered the elevator. This time coincided with the start of the workday, so when the elevator reached the first floor, a lot of people surged in, and the elevator immediately became crowded. Zhongshe was on the higher floors of the commercial building, so Yunyan quickly squeezed into a corner of the elevator. Jiang Yunyan actually rarely arrived at the company right on time. Seeing Yunyan experientially shrinking into the corner, he couldn't help but smile. But he didn't say anything. He just quietly moved back until he was in front of Yunyan. Yunyan looked up. Her gaze met the man's solid back. He was shielding her from many people, avoiding the crush. It provided her with a small, relatively relaxed space. There were Zhongshe employees in the elevator who first noticed Yunyan. It was a young man from the project team, quite sunny and cheerful. He even greeted Yunyan. Assistant Yu? You're a bit late today, too. Assistant Yu? You're a bit late today, too. Yunyan hummed in response. Why are you wearing a mask? Are you sick? The colleague was quite enthusiastic. Why are you wearing a mask? Are you sick? Yunyan awkwardly coughed twice, thinking, your Mr. Jiang is standing right there. Can't you see him? But when she turned to look, the colleague was standing side by side with her, and Jiang Yunyan was standing in front. Unless he turned around, this colleague definitely wouldn't dare to imagine their CEO was standing right in front of him. Yunyan answered lightly, saying her throat wasn't feeling well. After saying this, she sensitively noticed Jiang Yunyan, who was shielding her, slightly turned his face. Wasn't it all thanks to him? Did you take medicine? The weather in Beishur is dry in winter, and you're from Jiangnan, so you definitely can't stand it, which makes you prone to getting sick. The colleague was overly enthusiastic and chattered on. It's okay. I'll bring you some medicine later. Did you take medicine? The weather in Beishur is dry in winter, and you're from Jiangnan, so you definitely can't stand it, which makes you prone to getting sick. It's okay. I'll bring you some medicine later. Yunyan waved her hands repeatedly. No, I'll be fine if I drink more water. No, I'll be fine if I drink more water. You don't have to be polite with me. I see you often in the project team, working harder than anyone in the team. You're a young girl. You don't even know how to take care of yourself. You don't have to be polite with me. I see you often in the project team, working harder than anyone in the team. You're a young girl. You don't even know how to take care of yourself. Yunyan wanted to force a smile in response, but then remembered she was wearing a mask, so she gave up. She looked up at the numbers on the elevator, ticking up one by one, urging in her heart, hurry up and get there. It wasn't that she disliked this colleague. In fact, she had only met him a few times. He was from another project team and had no dealings with Project Department 1. She just wasn't used to this kind of intimacy from someone who was still practically a stranger, forcefully closing the distance without any sense of boundaries, which made her feel very uncomfortable. Assistant Yu. The colleague showed no sign of noticing her discomfort, moving closer to her, and abruptly asked her a personal question. So you're single now, right? Do you have a new boyfriend? Assistant Yu. So you're single now, right? Do you have a new boyfriend? Yunyan's heart skipped a beat, and she subconsciously glanced at Jiang Yunyan's back. She was just about to tell this colleague that it was her private matter, but then the colleague lowered his voice and continued, I don't believe the rumors in the company. You're a very good girl. You deserve a better man. I don't believe the rumors in the company. You're a very good girl. You deserve a better man. Yunyan felt her scalp about to explode. She was just about to remind him to stay away from her, fearing she might infect him. Unexpectedly, as people started to get off the elevator, the crowd surged, and the colleague bumped into her. Just as he was about to press against Yunyan, an arm unexpectedly stretched out and propped against Yunyan's ear. She looked up and first met Jiang Yunyan's sexy, prominent Adam's apple. Jiang Yunyan propped one hand against the elevator wall, circling her within his space. He looked down at her, asking faintly, Are you all right? Are you all right? Yunyan's heart was pounding. How did he turn around? I'm fine. The colleague naturally also saw Jiang Yunyan, and for a moment he stammered, Mr. Jiang, why are you here? Mr. Jiang, why are you here? Jiang Yunyan's brows were faint, and he retorted, Can I take the elevator? Can I take the elevator? No. Mr. Jiang, I didn't mean that. No. Mr. Jiang, I didn't mean that. Yunyan felt this colleague was unlucky of all times to say something inappropriate in front of the male lead of the scandal, especially that phrase, deserves a better man, which was quite damaging. She didn't dare to look at Jiang Yunyan's expression, her gaze shifting from his Adam's apple to his tie. The tie was still the one she helped him tie this morning. He was in a black suit this morning, with a dark gray cashmere coat over it, so his tie was also a shade of gray. It perfectly blended with his noble and cool demeanor. At this moment, Jiang Yunyan's shirt buttons were meticulously fastened, and his tie perfectly matched his shirt. But only she knew that if his collar was pulled down a little further, the bite marks on his neck would be visible. It was last night, when he brought her to ecstasy, she couldn't help but bite him. He let her bite, holding her body tightly. When she fell from ecstasy, limp in his arms like water, he chuckled hoarsely, Little Vixen, you almost bit me to death. Little Vixen, you almost bit me to death. His thin lips then brushed against her ear, adding a more ambiguous supplement, with both mouths. With both mouths. So at this moment, Yun Yin thought of this scene, and her heart was stirred with a surge of emotion, a warm current suddenly flowing through her lower abdomen. Which project department? Jiang Yinyan asked faintly. Which project department? The colleague quickly replied, Mr. Jiang, I'm from project department 2. Mr. Jiang, I'm from project department 2. As he spoke, everyone else in the elevator had gotten off, leaving only the three of them. To be honest, Yun Yin felt awkward. At the same time, she subtly poked Jiang Yinyan, signaling him to let go. Jiang Yinyan discreetly withdrew his arm and straightened his body. The tall and imposing man, in a smooth-lined cashmere coat and a black suit underneath, perfectly outlined his physique. Every inch of fabric seemed to possess life, showcasing his elegant lines to the fullest. Subordinate to Yang Li. The colleague nodded repeatedly. Yes, I belong to Deputy General Manager Yang's major project group. Yes, I belong to Deputy General Manager Yang's major project group. Jiang Yinyan's tone remained faint. Is Project Department 2 taking on wedding planning projects now? Even project team employees have to work as matchmakers. Is Project Department 2 taking on wedding planning projects now? Even project team employees have to work as matchmakers? The colleague was extremely embarrassed to hear that. After entering the company, Yun Yin changed her clothes and went to the restroom immediately. Looking at her swollen lips in the mirror, she sighed. She would have to touch up her makeup later. That's why restrooms are places of gossip. Gossip spreads so quickly, and restrooms play an indispensable role, no matter how dramatic or mindless the people gossiping in them are. And so, 2 or 3 mindless people appeared when Yun Yin was in the restroom. I heard that someone from Project Department 2 ran into trouble this morning. Yeah, I heard. It seems like Mr. Jiang was in the elevator when they were talking nonsense. Talking nonsense about what? Roughly meaning that Mr. Jiang wasn't a good man, and that Assistant Yu deserved a better man. In short, it had something to do with Assistant Yu.